Imagine a silent threat soaring through the skies with migrating birds, threatening to unravel our food supply and even spark a human health crisis. That's the alarming reality of the bird flu surge gripping the U.S. right now. With millions of poultry falling victim and experts warning of potential human infections, this isn't just a farm issue. It's a ticking time bomb for our society. But buckle up, because the story takes a wild turn when politics steps in, scaling back our defenses just as the danger ramps up. Dive in with me as we unpack this unfolding drama, breaking it down step by step so everyone can grasp the stakes. As autumn rolls in and birds migrate southward, they're unwittingly transporting a deadly passenger, the H5N1 avian influenza virus, commonly known as bird flu. This highly contagious strain has exploded in poultry populations, leading to the culling of over 3.5 million chickens, turkeys, and ducks in just the past 30 days alone. That's a sharp spike from the quieter summer period, with 66 flocks across the country hit hard. For beginners wondering how this spreads, picture wild birds, like geese or ducks, coming into contact with domestic or backyard flocks. The virus jumps easily between them, turning peaceful farms into outbreak zones. Right now, the Midwest is bearing the brunt, but scientists are bracing for more trouble as migratory patterns shift, potentially lighting up outbreaks in other regions. It's like a natural wildfire fueled by animal movement, and without swift action, it could burn through our egg supplies and beyond. But here's where the human angle hits home. If we don't treat this seriously, we're not just talking higher grocery prices. We're risking a repeat of last year's scary chapter. Influenza experts are sounding the alarm, predicting more human infections, just like the nearly 70 cases we saw in 2023, which tragically included one fatality. We're absolutely going to see human infections again, much like we did a year ago, cautions Seema Lakdawala, a virologist at Emory University specializing in bird flu. Nothing fundamental has shifted to prevent it, even though no new human cases have surfaced since early this year. A lack of clear data on animal and human spread adds to the unease, and that's where the plot thickens. Our federal response has been dialed back, leaving experts in the dark. This scaled-down government approach is sparking heated debate, with critics arguing it's a dangerous gamble on public health. Under the current administration, funding cuts, staffing reductions, and early retirements have gutted vital surveillance and communication networks. Wendy Purrier, a Tufts University virologist who's been deeply involved since the virus first hit U.S. shores, describes feeling in a very uncomfortable place due to poor monitoring capabilities. She recalls how a once vibrant influenza research group used to collaborate closely. It was a pretty depressing meeting, she notes, with doors closing all around us. The trickle-down effects are even more troubling. Genetic sequencing of the virus from infected animals, handled by a key federal lab, has slowed to a crawl. Issues that predated but worsened during recent government shutdowns. Dr. Keith Polson, director of the Wisconsin Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory, points to staff losses at the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the need for pre-approved communications creating unnecessary hurdles. With wildlife spillover risks on the rise, he warns that the shutdown pours gas on a smoldering fire, turning this into a genuine national security threat. USDA hasn't responded to inquiries, but a Department of Health and Human Services spokesperson insists the CDC's influenza team remains unaffected and can handle urgent threats during shutdowns. Yet, this assurance rings hollow for many in the field, who see vital lab networks grinding to a halt without regular meetings. And this is the part most people miss. While poultry takes the spotlight, bird flu's challenges extend to dairy farms, where containment feels like chasing a ghost. Reported cases in cattle herds have dipped lately, but experts like Lakdawala question if that's due to actual decline or simply less testing. A Biden-era USDA program for detecting the virus in milk persists, along with interstate cattle testing rules, but routine checks in herds remain murky. Dairy operations thrive on moving cattle between farms, complicating efforts to control the spread. New research from Lakdawala's team reveals just how pervasive the virus is, lingering in milking parlor air, on equipment, and even in waste used for cleaning barns. Cows excrete massive amounts in their milk, even asymptomatically, creating an infectious cloud that reinfects them constantly. These animals are bombarded with the virus in their environment, Lekdawala explains, making eradication a tough uphill battle. On the bright side, the current H5N1 strain hasn't mutated enough to easily jump to humans. But for farm workers exposed to aerosolized particles, the risk is real, potentially leading to respiratory infections. In Minnesota, which has endured about 24 farm outbreaks since mid-September, epidemiologist Karen Martin is tracking 35 exposed individuals and coordinating with the CDC. What worries me is sustaining the resources to respond, she admits. We're managing right now, but it's tenuous. This vulnerability underscores a broader call for improved worker testing. Farmhands, often the first line of defense, face the highest exposure risk. Yet, implementing robust testing has been a persistent hurdle, dating back to the outbreak's start. While human cases are mostly mild, think eye infections or overlooked symptoms, asymptomatic cases could be flying under the radar. A recent CDC paper urges better data collection on these silent carriers to sharpen public health strategies. A small Michigan and Colorado study last year detected past infections in 7% of dairy workers. But gaining buy-in from farmers and their often undocumented staff is fraught, especially amid intensified immigration enforcement under the current administration. Bethany Bogus-Alcoulter from the National Center for Farm Worker Health reports heightened reluctance during California interviews this fall. Many workers feared leaving home for surveys. Their study of hundreds across 3 states showed 20% experiencing symptoms alongside sick animals, yet most went untested. Dr. Nirav Shah, who led the Biden-era bird flu response, acknowledges the sense in downgrading the CDC's emergency status earlier this year, but he stresses that monitoring and ground-level readiness shouldn't wane. They're betting on no major incidents, but that's a risky bet with pandemic potential, he warns. This balance between vigilance and resource allocation raises thorny questions. Is the government prioritizing fiscal cuts over safeguarding against a possible flu pandemic? Could immigration policies inadvertently fuel outbreaks by discouraging vital testing? And at what cost to our national security? What do you think? Does scaling back federal surveillance during a growing threat feel like a prudent move or a reckless oversight? Share your take in the comments. Do you agree with the experts' calls for more funding? Or is there a counterpoint I'm missing? Let's discuss and unpack this together.